She introduced the girl to the emperor and said that she had met her by chance. And since she looked so much like her dead mother, she thought she was a relative of hers. So she invited her here. The audience realized that it would be difficult to continue the negotiations, so they were postponed. The princess felt a little sorry for Valencia, who did not understand anything, but everything would be fine after all. The emperor would only need one look to realize that she was his real daughter. The girl was ready, knowing the only thing left for her was to leave without regrets. The girl mentally thanked Miss Dellis for what she had done for her, and thought she might never be able to forget her. She looked at the emperor's gift and wondered if it had been the same as it was before. Would it have changed anything as she had hoped? All the servants were waiting outside. Now that everyone was surprised by the situation with Valencia, she had a chance to leave unnoticed. But Nazar noticed her. She realized that if she returned, all her plans would collapse. But at the same time, she understood that it would be even more suspicious if she pretended not to hear. She walked and remembered Countess Delos and Poland, the emperor, Nazar. She ran far from the palace, hoping that at this distance her father would not feel that she had used the ring. He had given it powers last year. She needed to focus well on the place she wanted to be, because her body could suffer from the interference of outside thoughts. Valencia met the emperor, told him that she did not know her father, and told him about her mother. Poland said that the empress had no relatives with that name. The girl took the opportunity to ask if he was her father by any chance. After all, her mother told her that her father was an incredible man, with dark hair like darkness and blue eyes just like hers. At that time, the countess ran into the hall and said that the princess had disappeared for reasons unknown to anyone. She left a letter. Poland said that if she used the powers and disappeared, it would be difficult to find her. It might be necessary to search the entire continent. The emperor was reading the letter at the time. In it, the girl told him that Valencia was his own daughter, that she had met the girl's mother, who was the empress's maid, and that the woman told him the truth about the switch out of jealousy. She said that she was his fake daughter, and that she was leaving this place because she couldn't look him in the eye, and thanked him for his upbringing. The emperor was angry. He told them to gather the whole army and find his daughter. The girl found herself in the northern part of the empire. Even if she was seen, her image would still be a little blurry. Then she realized that she was not being addressed. She didn't have time. She didn't know how long the search would take, and whether the power in the ring was infinite. In addition, she could only teleport to places she had been before, and she needed to find a way to get to Angelium, where the Tower of Mages with her father, Layson, was located. A week after the disappearance of the fake princess, 3 days ago, the imperial palace officially announced the disappearance of the princess to the whole country. Poland went into the room to see the emperor. He was in a very bad condition, saying that he had used too many sacred powers. With their help, he wanted to cover more territory to find her, but he never found her. Since the death of the empress, he had not seen His Majesty in such a state, and he couldn't imagine that such an emperor would find a princess and then punish her as a criminal. Nazar wanted to go to Senshin because the owner of the ring could only get to the places she had been before, so it was likely that the princess was there. The nanny brought Valencia to the emperor and said that she was definitely the daughter of the empress. The man looked at the woman and did not understand. She had resigned. When Philomel was 9, Catherine Hounds was caught at the border and brought to the palace. He asked if it was true that she had switched her daughter with his, for which he struck the woman with a sword. Valencia was taken away because, knowing the emperor's hot temper, her adoptive mother could die right then and there, in which case it would not happen in front of the girl. He realized how much Philomel looked like her, but he didn't understand why he hadn't noticed it before. Valencia was worried that the emperor was not happy to find her. Poland tried to calm her down, saying that he needed time to accept it. They had made sure that she had sacred powers, so she was definitely the emperor's daughter. Philomel dyed her hair just in case the magic was still working, and she couldn't calm down. Wherever she went, there was always talk. She found the wizard tower and was stunned by its size. It looked more like a castle than a tower. She was worried whether her father would agree to meet her. A man said that if she kept standing like that, she would not get into the tower, and the next meeting was next week. She could not let this happen because she did not know when they would find out that she was here, and if they added escape to the mix, she would be caught immediately. The man said that he knew some magicians, and he could guide her, but she had to give him something in return. She got some coins, but the man stole them and tried to escape. He was tripped and fell. They had a verbal altercation. The girl was shocked that a man from the Tower of Mages helped her. Another man was standing behind her. She did not understand how everything turned out this way. They returned the coins to her. The white-haired guy took her to the discipline department and handed everything over to Lexian. The guy asked what brought her here. She said that she had to meet Lawson, not knowing whether he would believe her or not, but that she should try, that she was his daughter. He took her to the tower. The girl asked why he was not surprised that she was his daughter, but the guy said he was more surprised that she came so late. Lexian said they were almost there, but before entering, she had to take off the ring. Her father looked very much like the man who helped her, but it was not him. The girl and her father were not alike, except for the same eye color. She was really his daughter. The girl wondered if this was how she had imagined her first meeting with her own father, treating his daughter, whom he saw for the first time today, as a stranger. Once upon a time, there was a child. He had no family, but possessed a great power that no one else had. A power with which he could change the weather or kill the dragon Estelian with a single movement of his hand. He could not understand ordinary human feelings. Once he decided to conduct an experiment. He collected a large amount of money and women volunteers. This experiment was to create an artificial baby by combining human and Estelian tissue. The man said that he wanted a child who would inherit his strength, but it was not easy. Those born had only the ability to use magic, and there was no aesthetic at all. One day, he stopped the experiment, and having stopped aging, he decided to live forever. But even stepping on the road of eternal loneliness, he did not hesitate for a minute. He did not understand why she came. She had little mana. She could not become a magician. Did she come for money? He decided to add the amount that her mother had not taken, so she would not be disappointed. The girl apologized for coming here and said she didn't need anything, then turned around and left. It was stupid of her to expect anything. How could she think that he felt attached to her? Lexian asked her to wait. He told her about the experiment, and that it was the first time he had a child like her, and that he was more of a teacher than a father to the boys. Lexian wanted to study her. Why? Unlike them, who feel emotions only halfway, she is a normal person because they were all born in the same experiment. He said that he would teach her magic and she would be his assistant while he studied her. She looked at the ring and realized that the light was weakening, meaning that the sacred powers were slowly running out, and she needed to find a replacement first. She wondered when the emperor would stop looking for her. He must be enjoying life now. The girl came to a shop with magical items. A lady noticed her and the ring. She ordered her to keep it and took the ring away, saying that she had stolen it and would find her a master who would be more suitable for this role. After taking it off, she recognized Princess Philomel and ordered to call the security people. The girl said that the woman recognized her, which was why she was hit in the face, and said that she would like to kill her right there, but she would have to be patient. Nazar and his group had been searching for her for several days when they heard the sounds of a carriage. The woman recognized him but did not think of anything to say to him. He was the best candidate for the role of husband in the empire. If you think about it, he is the fiancé of a fake princess. And now their wedding is already trampled. Maybe this is her chance to be remembered by him. She greeted him and said she had news he would be happy to hear, and told him that she had found a fake princess in Angelium. He went to the place where she was being held. The girl was behind bars and realized how stupid she was. The girl decided to resort to trickery and introduced herself as Charlotte Tate, and she had an identical appearance to the princess. And if they did not believe her, she asked them to write a letter to the Tower of Wizards to Mr. Lexian. She is his younger sister. Lexian would immediately know what was going on, and she could only hope that he would confirm her words. But a person who knew the fake princess arrived at the prison, and she realized that everything was gone. And if she had a little time, she would get out of this place. Layson woke Lexian up in the middle of the night and said that if he knew where Philomel was, he should tell her that she should immediately return to the magic tower, that he needed to meet her again. The guy thought it would take a few days, but not even a day had passed so soon. He would need to prepare to meet his new family. Nazar was very worried about her, but he was the person she wanted to hear and see the least. He released her and asked her to return to the palace with him. Philomel did not understand why. He made a face as if he was really worried about her. She didn't know what to do in this situation. She couldn't tell anyone about the book, and it would be difficult to escape again. So she went to Nazar and asked him to pretend that he hadn't seen her today, because if she returned to the palace, she would die. Nazar did not understand who could do her harm. He believed that the fake daughter was just a rumor. The girl asked him very much to let her go. She even said that she would do everything for him if he fulfilled her request. Maybe he would agree. By nature, he was a straightforward and honest person. He said that he could not fulfill her request because he had ordered to send a magical carrier pigeon to the imperial palace before he even got into the carriage. But he said that he really wanted to help her and offered to stay at the country house of Averdin located in Angelium and tell His Majesty that she had escaped. The girl was afraid that in the eyes of His Majesty, the boy would look like a fool. But he didn't care. Let him treat him like a fool as much as he wanted. Philomel said that since she did not want to inconvenience him, she refused his offer. She understood that they had most likely already met. Since they would be a couple, he would not regret his relationship with her. But why did his eyes reflect sadness? Nazar thought that she was drawing a line between them, but the closer he got to her, the more she moved away. But still, he thought that if he managed to defend his place, he would be able to stand next to her someday, and she probably wouldn't understand. All they had built during this time was a relationship justified only by a conventional engagement. But all he said out loud was that he realized too late that he had been so stupid. She was awake and heard what he was saying but did not understand why he was saying it. She decided to stay in a hotel. She knew that if she stayed here for a while, maybe the number of people who would recognize her would increase. She asked him for money out of great shame, but he didn't have any on him. But she also didn't want to ask her ex-fiancé for it. While they were chatting, the emperor arrived. He appeared suddenly without a guard, the emperor himself. He turned to her, asking where she was. Did she know how long he had been looking for her? The girl was very scared. She thought it was the end and she would die. The man asked what was wrong with her and why she was so pale. She realized that now she really had nowhere to go. Strangely, she heard nothing at all and fainted. The emperor used his power and disappeared with the girl. Lord and Lexian realized that she had disappeared. The boy blamed his father, but he said that he did not think she would react like that, because everyone wants money from him, and since it was his child, he thought she was the same. Carden, the middle son, and Jeremiah, the younger son, returned to the tower. The older one was shocked that their sister had been found, but the younger one did not care and wanted to steal her. But this would manifest a war between a tower that did not belong to the empire and the empire itself. The man said that outwardly they were in good relations, so it would be difficult. But the younger one said that as far as he remembers, almost all requests for cooperation were rejected. The Lord decided to go personally to check on her and emphasized that if the boys stopped him, he would not listen to them. Lexian said that they do not stop him because he is the only one who can get into the palace unnoticed, and they will get there by another method. In any case, he is not allowed to show himself, and not to make trouble until they arrive. The emperor was furious because she looked like she was going to die, and they did nothing. The emperor seemed to be too worried, saying that the princess was dying. The doctor arrived and said that this condition was due to lack of sleep, fatigue, and stress. He said she needed time to recover. She regained consciousness, not realizing what time it was, and she could smell fresh wood, the smell of the emperor. She realized how quickly she came back here. She had been preparing to escape for 7 years, but it seems that her fate cannot be changed. He woke up and asked why she had left, and asked if anything bad had happened to her about that letter. She does not need to leave this place, even if they are not related by blood. She is his daughter, and he will enter her in the family register. The girl wondered if she was really that important to him, but she refused, saying she didn't want to be his daughter. They brought her food. She realized that the human mind is so unprincipled. Even in a place where she did not want to return, she was easily bribed with food. At this time, Alencia came into the room. She was happy to see her mistress back. The girl did not feel comfortable, perhaps because the situation was the opposite of the one in which they met. Alencia offered her to play a game, and she learned that the nanny had returned to the palace, which was another reason to leave the palace. Alencia offered the girl to become her maid, because she had nowhere to go and she could live with her. She thought that the offer of an entry in the family registry was enough to change her fate, but she was wrong. Becoming Valencia's maid is the original plot of the prophecy. She didn't want to become her daughter. Since she grew up, she never thought of him as a father. Maybe he considered her a daughter, but life here seemed like hell to her. He said that he would officially apologize later and wanted her to think about the family registry, but she refused right away, and he asked her to stay here for another year before she left. He said that whatever she did, she would do. He will help her in everything, and if a year does not suit her, then at least 10 months, then 8, then 6. And he said that he could not give up anymore. She was trying to say something all this time. He shortened the date to 3 months. He realized that she would run away. It was obvious. For 3 months he was in such a hurry to find her, but for her, he is in the office. Alencia ran into the room and began to ask her father to let her become Philomel's servant. He realized that Alencia wanted to make the girl a servant, even without her consent, regardless of how she grew up. Before now, she was a princess, and to come with such absurd requests. She was glad that His Majesty did not listen to everything she said. Only she wanted to say something about yesterday's proposal. He immediately said that her room was prepared, she could stay there if it would be more convenient, and he had to go. She did not have time to say anything to him. The Countess hugged the girl very tightly and told her how worried she was. Suddenly they heard a cat meowing outside the window. The woman wanted to check, opened the window, and the cat ran inside. My mind was in chaos. Strangely different from the novel, but still anxious about the future meeting her real father and the story of her birth and Eustace Valencia. She asked what was happening between the emperor and the girl, and the Countess replied that their relationship was strange, despite the fact that they were related by blood, but had met a few days ago. The relationship between parents and children is no different from any other. It takes time and effort on both sides. The Countess asked if she had to leave again. How about staying at her house? She asked if the woman would become Valencia's maid. and the woman smiled and replied that she could not replace someone she cared for. The countess asked her if the girl wanted to run again, to tell her at least. She wondered what if there were others she had abandoned beforehand because she was scared, and she fell asleep. When the silence fell, Lakim could finally turn from a cat into a man. He looked at her and felt as if something was familiar, but he was still not sure what it was, and it made him feel uncomfortable, as it never happened with the boys. He never worried about it, but he knows that most people were afraid of him. It took him some time to understand the actions and facial expressions of others. The nanny began to shout at Phil. Because of her and her mother, their poor princess lived without knowing her father's face. The countess stood up for the girl while she thought that this woman had taken care of her all her childhood, and then this. The nanny fell down for no reason and began to blame the girl. She looked at the cat and thought it looked very happy. From the nanny, she learned that Katrin was here, alive, in prison. They left. The cat wanted to go with them, but the girl told him to wait quietly for her. They laughed because cats do not understand human language, but he really stayed, and they were shocked that he was extremely smart.
Love the manhwa? Subscribe for more. Your support makes it all possible. Hit subscribe now!